Hello lads, ladies, gents, ladetts, whoever, whatever, and welcome back to another video. Little did we know at the time a little game by the name of Vampire Survivor would create what would become an absolute juggernaut of a genre called bullet heaven games. A style of game like the old school bullet hells, however, we're the ones turning the tables on our enemies. By now, there have been many different takes on the idea of this genre since it exploded onto the scene, from Megabonk, Vampire Hunter, 20 Minutes Until Dawn, and one that I found very interesting, today's game, Net.Attack. From developers Byte Rocket Games, in which I want to say thank you to them for providing a free copy of today's game for review. Net.Attack sees you trying to survive each time round to complete a level, earning money from each run to unlock upgrades for future runs and new characters. So far, it's nothing that different, and to continue that trend as you make your way through, you'll earn random upgrades allowing for passive bonuses. However, where the game really starts to be different is this game's version of coding. Now, it's not coding in the traditional sense by any means, where you have to write in a specific language to do attacks. However, here we are given a series of different blocks, or nodes as they're known, that you can link together to create a code chain, and depending on how you chain these blocks together, you might end up with different results. Initially, you'll start with 3 different nodes, all known as an on tick, meaning after every X amount of time has passed, these will activate. This means you have 3 attempts to attack. You also start with a single ping node, which you can then assign to one of those tick boxes, and depending on which one you pick, it will change what time your attack happens. Now, once you unlock more characters, you'll actually get different starting nodes, and they'll have different effects, which makes this game incredibly replayable. You will notice that these nodes have a series of different inputs and outputs, from do simply meaning after time has passed this action will happen, to on hit meaning after an attack is hit, or an action has hit what it is trying to hit, it then continues into a different chain. This allows for some really interesting ideas. For example, if I put triple ping after an on hit from the regular ping node, once I attack my enemy, the enemy will now shoot out a triple attack to enemies around it. However, if I put the triple ping node onto an on tick node, this means I will do a single shot and then a triple shot after, depending on what order I've put things in terms of my timing. I feel like I'm not doing the best job of explaining things, but essentially the game will help you learn some basic level coding logic. Now, it's not going to teach you coding, and it's not going to teach you everything you need to know about coding or logic within there. However, it does a pretty decent job of giving you a baseline, and it's pretty interesting because you learn how to be as efficient as possible while maximizing your damage, which you can keep track of with the little damage graph in the bottom right corner. Now, I know for a fact I haven't explained things the best, so what I'm going to do is allow for about a minute of gameplay footage for you to sort of see how things are going. If you're familiar with the genre, it'll all make sense. But if you're in the market for something a little bit different in the bullet heaven genre, Net.Attack is actually the way to go in my opinion. It's an interesting take on the genre for sure. Graphically, it's pretty simplistic, relying on boards and chips as its main driving force for its aesthetic, and there aren't crazy animations in play, but honestly, I don't think this game needs it. The soundtrack is suitable and relatively solid in my book, but nothing I would say that is absolutely spectacular, and ultimately, I think for someone trying to get into this style of game, it's a great place to start. It's definitely on the easier side compared to some of the other games that I've played in the genre, at least for the beginning. And if I really did want to level any other complaint, I would say visually the game is a little too simplistic. I don't mind it for the characters or even the enemies, but I do think the visual backgrounds could have a little bit more going on, at least to make it a bit more stimulating. Overall, it's perfectly fine, but we do see the same chips over and over again, the same boards over and over again. It would have been nice to maybe have some different styles, maybe some more old school school looking ones, and maybe some more futuristic looking ones. With this said though, my review is based on an early access version of the game, and although there is a lot of content here, it's not the full release, and by the time this video is out, the full release might be out, so they might have added some additional content. Either way, I do think this is a game worth your time, and it's not overly expensive, as it's about $12 or your regional equivalent, so definitely check out Net.Attack. So with that, lads, ladies, gents, ladetts, whoever, whatever, it brings us to the end of another video. I hope you like this look at Net.Attack, and once again, thank you to Rocket Games for giving me a copy for today's review. Definitely go check it out, and I do really recommend it. As I said, would like to see just a few more visual flares, honestly. That's about all I would add. If you enjoyed the video, please consider hitting that like button. If you want to go that extra step, you can hit the subscribe button, and if you want to go that extra mile, you can support me on Ko-fi, Patreon, or YouTube memberships like these lovely people here. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe out there. Bye.